most folks know Sanghee, and I'll let you introduce your talk and everything. We'll go ahead and get started.
Thank you for introducing me, and thank you everybody for coming my presentation today. Today I will talk about social Q&A, particular the small pilot study that I worked with other two authors, Sanghee Oh, she's from SILS, and Soo-Jung Kim, she's from University of Maryland. And we did a little pilot study about the social Q&A with particular the case study of Yahoo Answers. What is social Q&A? Social Q&A is also called internet Q&A and sometimes knowledge search. It's community-driven services, so it encourages a lot of people to come to this place and make a contribution and collaborate and interact with each other. This is based on voluntary participation, so there is no way to force people to hear, but people just happily come and ask questions and leave the answers, and there are also other activities people can do besides on that, like leaving a comment or ratings or votings. There is no intermediary quality control from any authorities. Yahoo Answers, in case of Yahoo Answers, they offer some space, people can come together, but they have no control at all to edit or delete their contents. But there is a one way people can actually report about it. So if there is something really weird, something is linked to this content sort of thing, then people can actually report it to the Yahoo Answers, and they can do whatever they have to do based on their rules. It's free services, so you don't have to pay nothing to get the information. If you wanna just search it through the Yahoo Answers, then you just can do it in your laptop without any sign in or sign up. But if you want to make a contribution if you want to ask something or leave the answers or leave the comments, or if you want to do whatever the kind of activities that you want to, then you have to subscribe to Yahoo Answers. So the Yahoo Answer basically track the people's user profile, how many best answers people got, or how many answers people leave, or questions, or there's also kind of point system that people can build their reputations based on this. So those all sort of things are tracked by their user ID. And as I told you, it is composed of not only just question and answers, but there are a lot of viable kind of activities of commenting, like voting, rating, and so we will see more details in the following slides. And the topics in Yahoo Answer is quite comprehensive. It's from very minor personal problems to school project or the business problems. There are about currently there are about 27 categories, including Yahoo products and best of answers, but there are only topical 25 subject categories. Actually, when we do the study last December, there were only 24, but now they have one more. First I was like, did we miss one category when we do study? Those kind of environmental dynamic change of the Yahoo Answers also applied in here. So there are a number of subject categories. So how do people like the social Q&A so far? Actually, Yahoo Answers was launched like 2005, and then after 2005 December, and they do the survey about the general kind of perspectives about social Q&A and also Yahoo Answers in 2006, like 1 year after they launched their services. So actually the survey here is not only for about Yahoo Answers, it's about kind of the general population's ideas about the social Q&A. So it says 33% of online users have used a Q&A site, and half of them, like 52% of them, that information from Q&A has influence to make decisions in their lives. And 81% of people say that they are likely to get answers to specific questions if the service was free. The free was kind of emphasizing this part. And about 80% of people believe that they could get answers in minutes in social Q&A. So they kind of expect those kind of immediate response from the social Q&A. And 77% of people that need an answer to something unfamiliar to their friends or family. So majority of the people participate in this survey said, I want to get some response from a group of people rather than just individual of my family members or friends. So they will have a kind of need to interact with a lot of people outside in their kind of physical area of access.
Do you know the methodology of the study? Number of people who they surveyed?
Yeah, they kind of surveyed like 1,000 people, like 2,000. I don't quite remember 1,000, between 1,000 and 2,000 people. It was they said it's ordered online users. So that was kind of survey that they circulated.
Too fast of an answer. I took a bite of food. Talk about something unfamiliar to their friends and family. Does that imply that they would still go to their friends and family first?
We're not quite sure
Yeah.
about it from the survey, whether they prefer, about their preference, or I guess maybe they want to know something, but probably their families, their friends don't have, they are thinking that they don't have the answers, and
Right.
they go down. Because one of the interesting is people really like the immediate answer from
Sure.
you have to probably go just to the internet, go to computers and ask something would be much more faster than just ask the family members or waiting for your father to come
Regardless
and
of
ask
topic.
you. Yes. Oh, yeah, of course, it depends on topic too. Actually, there is one other survey in Korea. Actually, in Korea, the social Q&A was launched like 2000. So the first social Q&A service in States was Answer Back. It was launched in 2003. So in Korea, we have 3 years kind of longer history of using social Q&A. And there is a survey in 2006 that 92.7 people have experience using social Q&A in Korea. And then among them, 83.2% people say that the using social Q&A is very much useful for their life to looking for information. So you can see that how the populations are growing in Korea. Although the cultural and technical environments from Korea and here are a little bit different, but you can see how this kind of population, there's a possibility that the population for social Q&A will grow a lot in few years. So with this Yahoo Answers context, I and the other 2 authors, we just sit down and just talk a lot. We just fascinating about it and what can we actually do with this research as a pilot study to just understand the nature of Yahoo Q&A. So we just want to know how do people actually use the answers in their lives and how do they actually evaluate it. We don't think people are just naive enough to just know this is bad answer, this is good answer. Maybe there is some kind of selections that are going on that people play with it. So the big kind of motor for our study was how do people evaluate the answers and filter them out to fit their information needs. So we developed the 3 different research questions for this small pilot study. First one is what relevance criteria do people employ in selecting best answers to their questions? The second, what correlation does exist between these criteria and the types of questions people ask? And third one, how do criteria distribute differently depending on the subject categories? So these are kind of top 3 research questions that we applied for this study. So let me introduce Yahoo Answers a little bit. It's launched in 2005. So it will be 2 years in coming December. And there are actually several social Q&A was in the market in the States, and Yahoo Answer is quite a dominant one in this area. They actually have 96% of market share of the visits of the all social Q&A, so it's quite the top one. And then according to the survey in 2006, they said 16.6 million users. They have the 16.6 million users and 60 million answers. It's 2006 kind of survey, so if they do the same survey in 2007, I guess they will have much more number of those statistics. And there are 2 kind of promotions that Yahoo Answers have that we guess. The first is community building. They consider Yahoo Answers not only just a place to ask questions and receive the answers and leave, but they also want people to make their community within here. So they just promote like a share knowledge. You need to help others to get some information. So those are some kind of their conceptual motor for this service. And then also there is a reputation building here. So as you probably guessing, there are pointing systems. People get points if they have much more big contribution, but have much more contribution on it. And there are also user profile analysis. So in every users will have their points and their kind of percentage of their contributions, all the best answers, number of the answers, questions. So all these things are just built up for each individuals, and you can play with those individuals. You can interact with those individuals within this context. User roles, people, there are questioners, askers, viewers, voters. No, I'm the one person, but I'm also with the questions, and also if there's something that I know something, then I like to go to give the answers, and I want to comment about the answers or questions of other people. I want rating them, I want voting them. So the user roles are very dynamically changing in this one context. So let's look at the Yahoo answers briefly. How many of you have actually accessed this Yahoo answers page before? Yeah, how many of you actually have used it? 1, 2, 3, yeah. So you will see the Yahoo logos at the top of the left side, and there are 3 kind of big boxes here: ask, answer, cover. As you know, the ask part, you just leave the questions. If you click the post questions, they will ask you first what kind of category do you want to post your question. Then you just select your category, and you can just click it, and then you just leave your question there. And these ask, answer, and these cover, these parts are quite related to the 3 kinds of question types that Yahoo actually have in here. I will show it more in a minute in the next slide. So if you scroll down this page, then you will see the categories on the left side. I told you there are 25 subject categories. So you will see the variants, and there are also a promotion page with the recent answers and kind of popular answers and questions or sort of things. And so,
are there subcategories?
yes, of course there are subcategories. I didn't count how many of them, but they have. And if we click the house one here, then you will see the subcategories and the website too. So if you go under the high level subject category, you will see 3 different types of questions placed here. So if you first ask the questions, then all the first questions goes to under this open question. Can you see the open questions here? So everything goes up to here first, and then after 4 hours later, so there are and those answers are posted here at least 4 hours, and then if you think that you got enough response of people during that time, and if you think as a best answer, then you can select it as a best answer. Do you have the best answer means that I just reviewed all these number of answers, and I selected the most appropriate ones to my research questions. So the questioner actually set the best answer. Then those questions that are closed, so nobody can actually add any more answers or can edit or delete the contents. And then those questions that goes to the discover. It's called resolved questions. So this discover question, in this discover resolved question, you will set the number of questions with select the best answers. After 4 hours, since you posted your question, there were multiple answers, but you wasn't able to decide which one was the best. Then you can also leave them as to people to vote about it. So the questions listed here are just voting, so anyone can come and have the vote. And if there is not enough number of voting systems, then this question also moves to this discover on this result question. And then if you're waiting for 4 hours, but you couldn't get any answers that you like, but then you can extend your period of time, and then leave the question in open question as open question.
So 4 hours is something that is the default for all questions?
Yeah, I guess so. It was just a row from Yahoo Answers.
Yeah.
You can have your answers.
Regardless of the time of day?
Yes, you can just have it just for at least 4 hours. So you would say this discover is much more static kind of database. I know it's of course it's updated every day, like in a regular basis, but their answers are much more. The questions are closed. Their answers are there unless there is something going on and it's deleted. But the other, this boot and answer part are much more dynamic. people can always come here and do whatever they want to make a vote, ratings, or everything. So for our study, we just only care about this discover part. We want to see how it really works in this way, so we just pick only discover part and do our study. So, yeah, discover. And yeah, if you click the discover, then you will see the kind of a list of the questions here. If you see there are many questions, you will see the questions and number of answers and the hours that people actually left the questions. Sort of, I have to move this page. So if I click this question, okay. If I click this question here, then this is one type of the questions that you will see. So the person gave the question as a title for this question. Actually, and this is the fascinating part. People can explain detail as much as detail they want about what they really want. So these are people who are desperate to come here to ask something. So they are very much willing to give any information they know and want to get some help. So they have like descriptions of their questions, and then there are actually, if you scroll down more, there is a lots of other answers in here. So questions. And actually, so this is the one answer picked as the best answer by the questioner. As I told you in Discover, all the result questions are there because the best answers are selected. So chosen by asker, chosen by questioner. So there is a kind of contents of the answer, what was chosen. And actually this part was quite interesting. The asker can rate this best answer here, like star rating. Although they choose it as the best one, they also give only 1 star or 5 star, whatever they want to. They can actually evaluate the answers based on this rating.
I wonder if somebody said no, would they, like the no answer is never going to be best because that's not what that person wants to hear.
Right.
I assume. So no answers are like no stars.
Actually grading. I should help me get my grading.
Yeah, and there's another kind of interesting part is people can leave comments. It's required actually. You need to leave a comment about this best answer. Required is because unless you do something in this space, you need to even just type of kind of period or something. You need to say something here. So and while we're just reviewing this comments page a lot, people are having comments or expressions of why they like these answers. So that's the part that we are very much focusing. Maybe there could be a possible relevance criteria that people made. So we decided to analyze kind of expressions, accounts, and comments, and responding to those questions, and what kind of relevance criteria people can
But the
have.
comments are from anybody, not just the asker and the answerer.
Actually, those comments are from asker, from questions.
Okay.
There are also other parts, other people can comment, but the part we are focusing was only this part.
Okay.
Because they have their information needs, and they select their answers, and they have something reason to select those answers. Yes. So that was our... So if you scroll down the page, you will see other answers a lot here. Okay, so methodology, how we actually deal with these comments here. So we just collect data between December 22nd to 26th in 2006. We first collect 1,200 data records, 50 from each 24 subject categories. It was not many number. We just want to have a number that we can handle with these 3 authors can actually do something. This is very initial trial, so we want to start off with analyze those kind of comments based on this. We also want to see the distribution among the subjects, so we just picked each 50 from 24, and we picked every 20 records in retrospective order. One of the reasons is one user can actually leave multiple questions in a row. So, as I told you, it's a small set of data. We just want to limit those kind of user influence to the number of questions. So we just picked every 20 records. And the data records that we actually analyzed include a question and the best answer, and the questioner's comments on the best answer. So we want to see, we were very much focusing on the comments, but we want to see how it's really talks about how it's really related to questions and answers. We want to review it.
And so those 1,200 data records span 4 days over Christmas last year?
Yes, yes. We'll just the date that we picked because actually we want to do something for the ACES. The deadline for ACES is January 15th. So we need to do something before that.
The effect of conference deadlines on research.
Yeah. So the main approach we did was content analysis. So for the comment analysis that I told you, we have to identify the expressions accounts that may be accounted as selection criteria for those people. So as you expected, many of people just leave the comments like, thank you, great, nice. But those are the comments that we can actually figure it out what it really means about those. Did you talk about contents or people? So we sort of exclude and filter out those comments from this subset of the comments. And then the question type analysis, actually the social Q&A, this topic is very comprehensive, and there are also the questions that people ask is also have lots of kind of varieties. So for this pilot study, we actually divide them into 3 big categories. The first, information; second, suggestion; third, opinion. So like information is just only fact finding. I need something to just right away and just ask for like an example here. How long after I purchase can I cancel a plane ticket from Orbitz? You can get the answer like in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that. And the suggestions, that was interesting part because people ask me what is the best way to store unopened bags of flour for long-term storage. There could be a multiple way of doing this, but they want to know the best way how to do that. And sometimes also people ask, where is the kind of best restaurant that I can go with my girlfriend on my first dates in Manhattan area. So people have their kind of very specific needs of what they really want and get some kind of recommendations from those people. And the third type of the question that we talk is opinion. Interestingly, people ask people to throw in kind of very philosophical questions to everyone and get some feedback from there. So, for example, what is the meaning of Christmas to the beggars and homeless? So, people, if you are interested in, just come and give any opinions that you like.
So clearly, there's some overlap in some of these. So, did you do multiple codings? How did you actually categorize these questions into the types?
If there is a question into types, we just try to separate them as much as possible to just.
Right, but did you have just one person do this, or did everyone do it, and then you sort of looked at overlaps? Or?
Yeah. We just actually I will explain a little bit more about how the 3 people actually make a compromise of this content analysis. So as I told you, I start with 1,200 comments, but after all filtering out sort of thank you or kind of no articulation of the reasons, we end up having 465 comments. It's like 40% of total data collection. It was kind of okay number for us to see the trends of how it actually distributes in this small pilot study. And among 465, we select 493 criteria. We call it criteria. It's like expressions that people made. And so those criteria become our unit of analysis for this study. And then the average number of criteria per comment is 1.06. And the question types, we just divide up those question types at first, like the information is 35.5%, and suggestion 23.2%, opinion 39.5%. So I will show you how the relevance criteria that we develop are distributed among those question types soon. And there are also some others. The people asking, how many languages do you speak? Just one. People answer like 1, 2, 3. That's it. So those are just fact-finding questions that we didn't actually hear in the question types. Before we have sort of list of the comments here, and we want to develop our relevance criteria with it. We just want to know how we started. So we do a little bit of we do a literature review and how those are relevance criteria exist in the world and how we can apply those framework to our context. So, of course, relevance judgment, the big abstract, big high level, papers that we are reviewed, and also we saw the white paper question as a factor. So they have a table of relevance criteria that about how the people actually describe their reasons to do search to make the relevance judgment or something. And then also there are kind of domain of the question and answer taxonomy. There are list of the kind of criteria to categorize the questions and also expected answers. What kind of expected answers people can get in the reference library, reference services in sort of context. But actually, we have those criteria and we have our context. We compare them, but there are some of overlaps, but there's nothing that we actually can bring in as a whole, because as you totally understand, as we just expected, because the social Q&A is quite different context to others. For example, the other 3 areas or 2 of them make people relevant judgment onto the document. But in social Q&A, the people are making relevant judgment to answers. The answers could, and also they actually make relevant judgment to the people who give the answers. So the context that we deal here is quite different from the previous study. So from those literature review, we become to have like a hands-on each set of criteria design. So we just pick some of them, and maybe we just need to start off to the relevant criteria, and then each 3 of kind of authors have the same set of 20 or so more samples, and we just work independently, not consulting each other to what kind of criteria that we can actually add more and delete more, and we come back together and compare our results. So we just make an argument, we need this relevance. This is kind of relevance critical kind of issue that people express, or this is not. This can be kind of something that is similar to traditional ones, or something that is very new. So we had lots of discussions and negotiations to compromise the set of relevance criteria set. So there are lots of updates, and then we go back to separate and also do analysis of the rest of the comments. But while we're doing this analysis, we just consult each other a lot, asking, because it was just initial step. It was just trial, so we just wanted to. We just agree that whether the 2 people are agree on it or 1 people or not. We just have lots of consult. We didn't do like perfectly independent kind of coding analysis, but rather it was exploratory and iterative process. We just come together and consult each other. So for our study, we end up having our research framework. Here, we have 7 value categories and 24 individual criteria. The 7 value is content value, cognitive value, socio-emotional value, extrinsic value, information source value, utility, and the last one is general statement. The content value, it's much more people make relevance judgment, make a comment on the content, whether it's clear, it really summarized very well, it has the right information that I know, and it's really completed. So for example, I choose this answer as best because it was worded perfectly. Or all of the answers are good, but someone's expression was the best in stating that all radical have due value, because these people ask something about that in this answer particularly mentioned this part in their context. So they kind of liked about those content value here. And the second one is cognitive value. It really think whether people actually stimulate their cognitive with something they already know and then apply them in their answers. So something, if there is something, the novelty means that something that they don't know before, and then they become to know from these answers. Like, never heard of that name, so they were very happy about it. And I never thought about using a shimmer eyeshadow to go over the page. It sounds like a good idea. So they pointed out something they never expected, then they... So then it includes any content value. And the socio-emotional value, actually this is the most... We actually expect that people will leave lots of comment about the social emotional value because it's a community driven and people would come, they can do whatever they want. So as we expected, it has top rank of the among those 7 value categories. Like people like to have emotional support. People even evaluate the answerer's attitude, efforts, experience, how much. I can guess from your answer that how much effort you put it on here. So they really appreciate about that. So for the example, thanks to the other person who posted a big list of symptoms, but I want a more personal statement. So in this case, the questioner asked about they got some kind of disease, so they asked about the disease itself in their question. So many people just list, these symptoms are blah blah blah, and then you can cure by this one. But among those many list of the answers, people actually pick one answer that people have much more describe their personal experience. So it was one of the interesting features that how people select those answers. And the other examples here, this guy thinks like me, so it must be alright. I just totally agree with you. You just think like me. Or the affective part was also interesting. They said, "Oh, you are so funny. That's the reason I picked this answer." Or "You just really made me happy," or something like that. And the other two, extrinsic value and information source value. Extrinsic value is something that is not quite related to content, but something about this environment that happens in social Q&A. So, for example, the quick need available alternatives in case that people you are the only answer that I have on this one, so I picked you as the best answer. And then the quickness, you are the first response. You are the first response onto my question, so I picked this one. For the information source values, they actually check the use how the sources are good. Some of the people actually give them sources like link to other external resources. So they actually make the evaluation of those sources. So like a perfect answer from the best source. Like you are quite an expert on gaming and console. Actually, as a source aspect, we consider source as a document, but source as a person. If they explain it very professionally, they also kind of identify themselves as a questioner, as an expert in the answer. The people also comment about those expertise of the people too. And the utility is something whether those answers are really useful. So in case of effectiveness, they actually got the answer and they tried out several things with those answers and find one that's perfectly good for them. So they come back to the system and evaluate as a one best answer. So like the solution feasibility, all the suggestions were great, and after trying them out, I found this one worked the best. So they actually do it in their real life and come back and give the evaluation. And actually, general statement it occupies a lot of part. One of the reasons for the kind of characteristics of this general statement is not quite fit into all of the top levels, but there are something meaningful. It's much more meaningful than they say like, thank you or nice or great. But it was hard to actually consider as one of the top criteria that we have. We want to do more, and their general statements are their number of the general statements are very scattered. So we don't have enough number of kind of statement that we can actually cluster. So maybe in the follow-up study we can do more on the general statement too, in depth, and whether we can cluster those comments in different area, and whether we can add them to our criteria or add them more specifically for new general statement. So this is the relevance criteria distribution by question types. So remember we have 3 different information, suggestions, opinion types here. Actually, and then the information. In case of information, the content value was top, the 25% people considered, and followed by the utility one was 13%. In case of suggestions, the utility was top. Utility, this red one here was the top. It was like 35%, 34%, and followed by the social emotional value. It was 20, almost 20%. The people actually think about it. In case opinion, social emotional value was really occupied a lot here. That 58%, it was mostly included about affect and emotional support of their comments.
58% of that opinion, of the opinion answer.
Yeah. And actually, we picked 50 from it. We remember that we start picking 50 set of data from each subject. But after we filter out those articulation expressions, that we end up like this number, less than 30, and overall average like 20 or between 15 to 25. So it was really hard to actually define as a nature for this data set, but we just thought it's kind of exploratory and give the kind of descriptions of it. So in case of social emotional value was part here and this color bar, and in case of health and sports, inducing events and family relationship and pregnancy parenting, in that case the social emotional value was the top. And for social science and travel, the content value was their kind of content value was a significant level of their kind of contribution here. And for the food and drink, then we will see there are many utility kind of related relevance criteria, relevance judgment were going on with those food and drink. Still, we have small number, but we're expecting we have a good number of sites to evaluate it in the next study. So it was first kind of exploratory trial to understand the nature of the data in social Q&A. There are a few studies related to social Q&A. There was one study, I forgot the author name right now, but they actually separate the users who give the answers, like experts or synthesizers. So who they like to get, whether the users who want to get the answers would like to get more answers from experts or more answers from the synthesizers. So there are a couple of studies deal with this social Q&A, but there are no other study who actually ever tried to make this make the content analysis on their comments and this try to understand nature in this study. As I told you before, the social content, one of the biggest kind of challenge of this social Q&A study is the people make the relevant judgment to the answers. Answers are very much dynamic than the kind of stable documents. And people also make a relevant judgment to not only the answer, but people who actually give the answers. So many interactions among the answers, among the also people happens in this context. And as I told you before, there are some of the overlaps from the research study of the relevance criteria, but the different context to understand this criteria was the social emotional value was quite dominant in this context. And as I told you, the general statements, people do make some kind of statements, but it was hard to, in our stage of this pilot study, it was hard to get what they really mean, or it was so scattered, so it was hard to group them. So that was another issue. And we didn't actually deal this one in this study, but the social interaction among the fellow users are quite interesting. People leave the question, and someone give the answers. And this questioner actually asked another question to this answer, and this answer had to come back and give the answer back, or the third person come back and give the answer. So it's not just one way to give and reply, give and take. It was just keep continuously following activities that people are working group with to get much more information and knowledge through among fellow users. So we have a follow-up study plan, because our previous study was just a small set of one. We just tried to expand the number of collections. Thanks to Shrag here, I just want to mention it. He was able to crawl the data from the Yahoo answers. So the answers Yahoo actually provide are really rich. Not only just answer questions, but all the ratings, votings, and user profiles, all those queries, or all the information can be actually now it can be collected thanks to Shrag. So for our next study, we can do whatever we can do as many as study with this rich data. But for this follow-up study, if we stick to the relevance criteria judgment framework, then we can have some kind of descriptive statistical analysis of the context. what will be the average length of questions, or even we can say whether the length of questions or time stamp influence to the select the best answers. So those could be the possible the new criteria that influence people's judgment on answers. And also there are kind of ratings between best answers and other answers also could be kind of compared here. And definitely our relevance criteria framework will be modified, and then as I told you, general statement analysis will be conducted here, and then the content pattern of investigation and characteristics analysis among different subjects. We have a small number of subjects, but in case we have the much full data, much rich data, then we guess that we will have much more much more analysis on those subjects too. So this is sort of the overview. This is the other slide. The other two slides about, I just want to show you what kind of user profile the information you want to get. It's separate from our study. So if you mouse over your mouse on the picture here, then you will see the percent of the best answer of this person, like how many answers the people gave to this system, and when this membership starts, and what the total points that people get. There are really complicated kind of pointing. If you leave the answers in some way, you get 3 points, or the 2 points, 0 points. So there are a bunch of it. And then point earned this week also analyzed. If you click this one, then you will go to more details of this person's profile. Like if you want to make your description of yourself, if you want to make the introduction of yourself, you can leave it here. But otherwise, you also can have automatic data collection from this context, like number of questions asked, all sort of things move back. So if you have any questions, yes.
Does every answer has to provide like the best answer comment?
Yes. At least they write something. At least they have to write something. Other than they can move on to the next step. So many people also just point the period there and just move back. That's also possible. Happens a lot. Yes.
Do people care about those points that you just showed?
That's what I'm really concerned. That's one of my big really kind of interest. What really makes people motivate to make a contribution in this context. There's a point systems, but who cares? For myself, I don't think so. But there's also pointing systems, and what actually people make. This is totally voluntary contributions. Is it because people are naturally born to share the knowledge, or they really care about the points, or there is no way they can do something with the points in current status. But that's really my really big kind of questions about how I can extend this.
Is there a system then to prevent collusion?
Pardon? Systematic what?
To prevent collusion? If we just pair off and answer each other's questions and call each other's answers best, and it happens.
Maybe, yeah, that's possible. That sort of things always can happen in internet, environment. If I made a homepage and link to each other, and that's always happen too.
Sanghee, do you know if this site is really bot-proof?
What do you mean by proof?
Bot-proof?
Robot.
Robot-proof?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Because they would really care about this point.
Okay, maybe.
Even who designed the program would really care about this point.
You're saying they want to know what they are?
Yeah. How good are these answers?
I'm sure we know there's quality of answers there. So it's a game the system to create artificial.
Absolutely.
What's the judgment? What are the questions going to be questions?
This is community driven, so maybe that's the idea that they give those point idea from many online communities give the kind of rewards to people's contribution. I don't know how they utilize it at some point. Yes.
So you're going to give this talk at ACES, right?
Yes.
So one of the things
smaller.
that I think is going to be an issue is your categorizations and how strongly you feel that they're valid. And so I think you want to think about responding to that question about you did a sort of consensual among the three researchers analysis of putting things in bins or categories. I think this is really valuable, and you're going to want to think about either defending it or how would you change it? So now that you've done this, would you add additional categories, either for the questions or for the comments? Are there ways in which this could be refined based on your experience?
Yeah, there are much rooms that we can refine this framework. Of course, in this first trial, it was exploratory. We just want to know what kind of things that we can find out from this context. So there is a definitely room to refine those categories based on the more. If you get more data about it, then we definitely will do it.
Can you go back to one of the first slides where there was actually a sample sort of comment, and be curious to see what this whole group thinks a kind of question that is, because go back even further.
This one?
Go one more maybe.
Oh, one more is.
Yeah, so that one right there, asker's rating, right? So this is, thanks for the reply, right? How would we categorize that in terms of that scale, or even the question? Is the question informational? Is it opinion? I mean, it's that sort of thing that you actually might think about doing an audience participation sort of thing.
Yeah.
You have a full paper, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that that might actually get some audience engagement, have some cards or something, and let people sort of do one, just so that sort of it communicates that you understand that these are judgments, and you really want to continue to build that taxonomy. I mean, I think it's really going to be your big valuable contribution.
Yeah, that's a really great idea to get actually ask the audience response on this.
Well, you probably also want to do some intercoder reliability before you actually do the big study on the pieces of that, because it is kind of it's really hard.
Yeah, intercoder reliability, that's the issue that we used to think about it first. But it was just for our first trial, so we have some initial set of the framework, but we was not quite sure whether it's not firm enough to us think as independently to code those concepts. We're still figuring out what this concept means or not, so we just keep dealing with those kind of issues and consult each other and negotiating. So in the second study, if we have much more firm states of the relevant students, we'll definitely take the intercoder reliability.
I want to go back to the kind of the points question, because I think it's on community. Like in the early, for those of us that are older, we used the news groups when they first came out. There were a lot of people that had reputation in a certain area, and you know who they were, and that meant something. Right? And I think the points may mean something if this is an important community to you. Have you thought about how to try to maybe get a sense of, is it an important community? Do people may spend a lot of time there or value the things that are said there? Is that, it sounds like that's what Yahoo's trying to build. I'm not sure that's actually happening.
Yeah. That's another my curiosity. I just even wonder whether how those social Q&A activities influence their lives. I do much my time here, and I do get some point, and then what I can actually, how it's really tied into my real life, and what really makes me to go back and do it, and how those points or reward system actually contribute more on people's participation. So all sort of kind of issues can be researched. Yes.
I'm kind of curious about why do people pose questions here?
They want to get the answer.
And but I could honestly your results that showed that the social part was a big part of the response. Is probably very telling about why the people have asked the question there in the first place.
Maybe, so you were considering why the people are posting their questions, not answers.
Right.
Maybe there's a possibility, because if I search it through Google, I get the documents that actually tie to my keywords. But I want to get some more really relate to myself. I have my information. It's sometimes really hard to explain in just 2 or 3 keywords. I want to have much more sentence and the question type of sentence, and express it more clearly, and I want to get some immediate help from others. If there is someone who experienced with the same problem with me, I can get a really good answer, can experience from that. So that's maybe the reason. Sure. Yes.
would be interesting to do a similar study in Second Life, because in Second Life you actually rate avatars and it costs you money.
Right.
And so when it costs you money, then it tends to, I think, make people a little bit more serious about what they're doing.
Yes, right. So one of the big kind of big benefit of this one is just because it's free. You know, it's freely accessible to search through it, to play with it. So maybe.
Well, no, what I mean is that you can you give these kudos to an avatar, and to do that, it costs you like, I think it's like 10 limits.
Yes.
And it's not like the cost of the whole interface, it's just the cost of increasing someone's reputation.
So if you want just basic, that's okay. But if you want to do something special with your avatar, then you can pay for something. Right?
It's just if you put money onto it, you
Yes.
put more value into it. If you put time and money or cents into it, it's more likely to be value.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
Google-
that's possible.
Google did
Maybe.
this, and then they killed their service because
Yes.
it was based on dollars, and they
Yeah.
found that there just wasn't enough usage to do, to get the kind of analysis or whatever they wanted to get out of it,
Yeah.
presumably.
Yeah. I'm just
I
maybe.
think your point's true. A lot of social interaction exhibitionism.
Well, and I also wonder, so how many people actually rate other questions? Is it mostly people just looking at their own questions and the ones that they've answered? Or do people actually use this as a resource to answer other things? They look at the existing set of questions.
Yes. And about the pointing, maybe people use those points to decorate their avatar or something like that. Then they can have a much more the physical reward that people can actually. That's striking me.
Did you get a sense that the points effectively regulate the community?
I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it was just there, and then I don't know how to conceptualize those concept of points, or how they actually value those points, or something I don't have any.
Because it seems like you can run into these per day barriers, limits your use. So it seems like they may actually keep out spammers because of the point system.
Okay, yeah, that's possible.
Did you get a sense? So I've participated a little bit, and I actually haven't run into spammers. I've run into poorly answered questions, but I don't know. I wonder if this. So the point system, gives this social capital, but it also sort of acts as a regulatory measure to keep keep people who would drag down the system down. And I wonder if it was obvious or evident that those sorts of people aren't there, the trolls aren't there, that sort of thing.
I agree. I've not found a lot of crap spam. And I'm sure Yahoo is running some kind of algorithm to see, if you don't have any points, we're going to look at your stuff probably a little bit closer.
No, they actually have a sort of system. So if you have between 1 and 249 points, you can only do so much.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You have to beat so many zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And these categories are dominated by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. It's like any of these curves that we've seen, right? You've got 2 or 3 people in each category that just hold court over women's health or whatever, and everybody knows them because they show up in every thread. Sure.
Think about it as yourself, as a kind of people who visit this. If you have a bunch of answers, what you can do with, you will definitely see the points, and you will see the names of the reputations, of course.
And it's not bad. It's quite effective because those people actually do know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and people really want it, but we just want to know what really makes people question them. Keep the people really makes them happy.
Are you able to search? They can search the already closed kind of questions and stuff. Do you know how many people actually do a search to try to find stuff as opposed to just posing a question first?
We have no any documents about it. So maybe, but yeah,
Like, can you handle people who are just doing it to get attention versus those who are seriously looking at something first?
That was my question.
In terms of kind of search here, I was even wondering how the search terms in here in this context is different from the ones from other external search engines. Maybe they have much more kind of customized for the answers or questions or something like this to make them different.
Because in forums, a lot of times if you ask a question that has been answered and you can find it through a search, you'll get blamed for it. So did you see any of that happening here?
actually.
Go look here already.
Yeah, but
Well, it
for one
seems like
of
it would be, that would work contrary to the point system. Like you keep re-answering the
Right.
question, that's
Right.
fine.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And there are really, I mean, from the survey from the Korean, in case of Korea, there are many duplicates of the similar questions and answers. And people, in that case, people are like to go just type the questions and get the answer rather than go to search.
It's faster. It's easier.
Yeah, it's faster, easy. You get answer. People expect to get the answer in a minute. The social Q&A is right on, so I don't want to bother me to search and go through the list. I just want to go ask questions. People, there are a bunch of people who want to give me answers. So it's kind of interesting. Thank you for coming. And